Hey.
Hello, Andre.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah?
I'm okay.
Surviving the quarantine?
Yeah, we have to, right? Have to do our part, but
Yeah.
not easy.
Well, and I mean, you're a photographer, so a photographer, it can be even more frustrating for you to not be able to go outside and take some
It,
photos.
yeah, it is. It is. I mean, I can still do some things because I do a lot of digital editing,
Yeah.
but it's still hard. I have, you know, a lot of photos still in my hard drives to edit, so keeping myself busy that way.
That's a good motto. That's a good motto. Well, first of all, thank you very much for being part of the showcase. It's
No,
a
thank you for having me.
it's a great experience for me, and because it was just an idea that came up a couple of days ago like that by being depressed watching the news, as I was saying to Emma. And but it's great to be able to do that with you guys, so thank you very much for your time and
Thank you
effort.
for having me. I think it's a great idea,
Well, let's
especially now, right?
Yeah, and that's a bit the idea behind. It's like, people are at home pretty bored with what they've seen already 20 times, and maybe seeing something new just give them some fresh air as well, and not think too much of what's happening outside of our
Yeah,
houses. So
it's true. It's true.
I mean, your work is so different than what other photographers can do. Because I'm right now on your website. Of course, I've checked it already a couple of times before our call, but there is so much more than photos on your website. It's so different. It's not just photo of portrait or this or that, and perhaps you do that as well, but mainly your work reflects like photo compositions, mix of photos together, and I like the way you integrate the people. It's not posing, it's posed, but it's not really posed. Can
Yeah.
can you walk us through a bit your inspiration through for your photos?
So, I feel like since I was little, I always liked the concept about creating worlds. I always read a lot of books. So I still write a lot, and I feel like photography gave me the visual means to do it.
Yeah.
So it's funny you mentioned the posing because when I work with people or when I work with models or whatever, I hate asking them to pose because I hate the posing thing. Like I know it's necessary for a lot of work, but I just don't like it. It feels forced to me. So I always try to make it very natural.
Yeah.
Or if it's posing in a way that is not usual. So that works around the concept I have. Every photo that I approach, I have a concept behind it, like an idea, a sentence, something like that. So the posing, of course, has to go with the concept, but I feel like that's the last thing I think about.
Yeah.
For me, the general visual identity of the photo is the most important thing. Sometimes if I have to choose between a pose that is not so good, but if it's better the image, I'll probably do it.
Yeah, and I think the fact that people are not especially posing, I mean, they're posing in a way like you just explained, but not really posing in another way, gives you also the freedom to have way much more precious time that people are not thinking. They just act on, on being themselves and not being like,
Yeah.
oh, I need to pose in front of the camera, which probably give you also the so much more different styles of photos, and you just catch the identity of people that they would not show if they were posing, I guess.
Yeah, and it's what you say. Like, it's funny because sometimes it creates funny moments because I don't ask them to do what normally they're asked to do. It's like sometimes I'm just like, look, just look as miserable as you can, and and then I'll work around it because that's what I need. It's not about the person, I think, but more about the emotion.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard to do it sometimes because I find myself having a problem sometimes with models, which is they're expecting, or people they're expecting what is usual, like what they see every day. So when I take a picture, I have to always remind them, like, this is not gonna look like this. Okay, this is gonna be completely different. So it creates a little bit. Sometimes people get uncomfortable. Like, I want to see it, but I still need to. It's not gonna be like this. I still need to work on it. So just trust me.
Yeah, and I think it's good that you work like this, because otherwise you as an artist forget what you're meaning behind it. It's like, if you would follow what they're expecting, then you would not have the result that you want as an artist. and
Yeah.
and I think it's important as well that the artist finds as well a good way of having the representation of what he has in his mind, I think.
Yeah, true.
So
And it's sorry.
no, go ahead.
I feel like as an artist, sometimes this sounds bad what I'm gonna say, but as an artist, you have to follow your vision no matter what
Yes.
it takes.
It's very important.
So, and even if you offend someone, even if people are uncomfortable what you're doing, the end goal, if everyone agrees with it, the end goal is what you have in mind. So people have to do it if they are on board with what you're doing. Even when, like, I use my girlfriend a lot for photos, not because it's her, but because I need a body. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I did some self-portrait too, because most of the times you don't even recognize the person that is in my photos. I just need a body to be there.
Yeah,
And sometimes
definitely.
people find it weird. But
And there is a beautiful color palette that you're using. What I like is that you use a lot of black and white, especially in the photo composition. And when you use color, they're not really like bam in your face. They're really subtle. They're just almost pastel colors. And that gives a sort of very mysterious and very different way of looking at the photos than having all those colors that we usually see on photo.
yeah, it's because, like, I feel like I do a lot of work in black and white, as you mentioned, because it's my preferred way of doing photography. So when I do color, as any artist, you always feel unsure in certain aspects of what you do, and I'm very unsure about my color work, because I know that I have more. It's easier for me to work on black and white than color, and so what I try to do is find a palette of colors to kind of use in all my color work to make it more consistent.
Yeah.
But I don't like strong colors. I don't like those cliche use of color. I like toned down subtle colors. So it just makes more sense to me to use it like that.
Yeah, it's my own opinion. I think black and white, it poses the time. It's then color you still have sort of a life going on in the photo while you're seeing it. When you see a sunset, for example, you could totally picture that the sun is going down and everything. But when you're having in black and white, it's like this is stopped. We pause the time, and there is the photo, and it tells a story. And I think that's what I feel when I see black and white photos on my part, at least. And I'm not sure if it's for you the same.
I do feel like that, and it's a nice way of putting it, because it is one of the reasons I use it.
Yeah.
The other reason is because I feel like sometimes when you have color, in my work I want to focus especially on the idea and the feelings that the image transmits, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like sometimes when you have color, it kind of distracts you a little bit.
True.
From the feelings coming out of the photo. Even I'm not saying it's for all work, but I feel like if you have black and white, you have to focus on something else. You have to focus on the light. You have to focus on the impact of what is happening there, on the idea behind it, and that's why I use it a lot.
Yeah.
And I've been exposed to black and white photography through all my life. Since little, my dad always photographed it in black and white. I watched a lot of black and white movies. I feel like it's just a medium that fascinates me, and is not used a lot nowadays in terms of the photography. People are very in tune. It's getting more mainstream now, I think, but people are always more in tune with the color, because photography color is pretty. Photography color is very important, and it's something that people like to see. And if it's black and white, people sometimes don't. I prefer in color.
And
So
I think
that's why I use it, I think.
people don't realize how much work it is to do a black and white photo. It seems so easy, but yet it's so difficult because, as you say, you cannot reflect the light the same way in black and white than what you have in a color.
Yeah, I mean, in lights are very important for color too, of course, but in black and white is essential because you don't have colors, so you need those shades of light and of whites and darks and grays. You need that to make it, to make a big impact with it. Especially when you photo. I feel like a lot of people don't understand this, but when you do using photo manipulation, sometimes it's easier to do it with color because you can use color to guide your eyes.
Yep.
Right? So when you do a black and white, all you have is light.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you don't have proper light, or if you don't create the proper light, which sometimes I do, to guide the eyes of the people that are watching it, it's very hard. And sometimes blacks don't match.
Yeah. Yeah.
All blacks are not the same. So
yeah,
it's hard. It's very hard.
Yeah, it's true. I believe you work with a digital camera nowadays, of course. But
Yeah.
do you also work with older cameras, such as when
I
we had
used
the film?
before, yeah. I use digital more as a convenience because it's easier for me to do my work like that.
Yeah.
I do prefer film in terms of, I feel like it gives it. I know nowadays there's filters you can use to simulate film, but true film I feel like you can tell apart.
Yeah, definitely.
And the working with it, I learned that in my education, my photography education. So the working with the film it gives it a more real feeling, because with digital you can take like 200 photos, 300 photos to do something, right?
Yeah.
And with film, you can't afford to do that because it's expensive.
Yeah.
So you have to be more careful of what you do. But I do think I have nothing against digital. Film for me is a medium that if it was cheaper, I probably would use it more.
Yeah.
But digital is very convenient, especially if you do photo manipulation like I do. It is convenient.
Yeah, of course. And so your models, of course, you said you use your girlfriend a lot, not just because it's her, but because you need a body. How people come to you and be like, hey, I want to be your model, because it's such a different way of photographing that you're doing, that I could imagine that people would be like, no, that's not what I'm looking for from a photographer.
Yeah.
So how do you?
I do get that side too. Sometimes I email models I want to work with because they fit a certain profile, or I want to do something different. And
sorry, one second.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's okay. And I give them the link to my work, and they see my work, and they're like, yeah, that doesn't fit my profile, or doesn't fit my Instagram feed, or I'm like, okay, fair enough. But I usually use my friends a lot because they already know me. It's just easier, right?
Yeah.
And when I want to work with someone different, I explain previously how my work is, what's my intention, how I'm going to do it. I don't have a lot of people approaching me to be my models. I have more people approaching me to buy my work, or ask how I do it, normal stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Usually it's me approaching other people.
Okay.
Usually. Because I feel I am realistic, and I feel like my work is not the kind of work that makes people want to be a part of it, because sometimes you barely recognize who is that. Yeah. So, it's a moot point. But I do get that part that people reject being in my work because, you know, it doesn't fit there.
Yeah, and of
Their
course,
feet.
you know, we all have to make money out of what we do, and you with your photographies. Does it happen that you have to do per se those portraits like any other photographers will do, or is it something that you're like, nope, I'm staying to my line, I'm doing my art, and the rest I'm not agreeing to do that?
I'm very stubborn about that, and I feel like an artist needs to be very true to himself.
Yes.
So I do like portraits and like sessions, like couple sessions or like family sessions or pet portraits and stuff like that. But it's always in my style.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't deviate too much from what I usually do. That creates a problem sometimes because maybe if I was more general what I do, I'll probably get more work.
Yeah.
But I feel like if people approach me to pay for my work, for the work they see, it's because they like what I do. So there's no point in doing something else.
Definitely. I could not agree. I could not agree more with you than what you're saying, because, in fact, and I think it would also reflect on the photo. The emotions would probably not be as much as what you wanted to bring into the photo if you're not doing what you exactly want. I don't know if I'm clear with that, but I think, you know, the emotions would be stopped, and then it would be like, okay, I'm taking a photo, clack, clack, done, you know,
Yeah.
and
True. And if you are true to yourself, your work will attract clients that you want to work with.
yeah,
Because
definitely.
they share the same vision.
Yes,
So
yes.
it's just, I feel like it's just win-win.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, it's an amazing work you're doing. It's
Thank you.
so different as well. Do you have a special place? Because I see you take photographies in the wood, at the sea. Is there a special place that you like to take photos in particular?
Everything else but the city, I love work with. I struggle to do my kind of work in city setting. I still do it if I find a good setting, but I feel like I'm more connected to, like you said, nature in general. You know, like woods, mountains, sea. I feel like that's where I feel more inspired to
Yeah.
do it. City setting is hard for me, although I do still use it if I find the correct setting.
Okay, yeah, but it's hard indeed, as well, because cities are so busy with so many different things, lights and people and cars and everything.
Yeah.
There perhaps gives you also more the chance to be, okay, you know what, we're just the model, myself, and perhaps an assistant helping you for some lighting or something, but that's it. And that gives you as well the full freedom of doing what you want. Then in town you would be then dependent of any other circumstances happening around you, I believe.
Yeah, it's true. And I do like photographing cities just for my specific work. I feel like most of the times it doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Because what you said, I do transmit in my work a lot the emotions of loneliness, nostalgia, sometimes depression, because depression is a feeling and
Yep.
it's something that a lot of people deal with.
Yep.
So it is present in my work because I feel like it's important to address it. And sometimes cities harder to do that because, what you said, a lot of people, cars, movement, even though there is a lot of depression and all those feelings in cities, but it's harder to show in a visual way if there's all of that happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's I'm very happy to be able to show your work to people. And do you? Of course, I believe you sell your photos just like people, if they want to have it framed at home. You sell them like that.
Yeah. So most of my work consists in commissions.
Yeah.
Selling my prints, of course, book covers, CD covers, band photo sessions. I do a lot of that too. I'm dabbling in pet portraits now because I love animals and I want to kind of make it different a little bit. But yeah, people can contact me through my website, buy my prints. I'm going to have an Etsy shop soon, so that will be a new venture, I think. But yeah, that's how I make my money. I do also photograph, do scene photography for movies.
Yeah.
Which is something I really enjoy doing it because I love movies, so it's good to be involved in that process. And I also do video. I do video clips for bands.
Cool.
But I do more photography than that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, for the people that are watching the showcase, of course, all the links will be in the description of the video on the website as well. So if you need to contact André, well, please feel free to come on his photo and click on the different links that will be there, because his work is amazing and he deserves to be seen even more than what he is. So please contact him. And thank you very much for your time, André. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And I'm looking forward to, as I said, to all the artists to meet you after this quarantine time and have some fun time around town here in Porto.
Sure, that would be amazing.
Well, you take care, André. Thank you very much. And we'll see each other very soon then.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Bye-bye. You take care.
Bye.